It was one of those, we looked at each other, we're like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then we looked down and Claire's like,
No. Hello, 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 and welcome to Well Shit. It really is that simple. I'm Claire.
and I'm Serena. On this podcast, we help you to understand about your 12 universal needs, why they are currently not being well met,
How to meet them in ways that work for you, and how to consistently do so in quick, easy, and simple ways that fit seamlessly into your life.
We'll also help you to understand how doing so will have a positive ripple effect in literally every area of your life.
If you like what you hear, sign up for more support with meeting your needs with your weekly Universal Needs notes at theuniversalneeds.com.
And enjoy the show.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, everyone.
So today we are doing part number 4 in our Getting to Know You series. So we've done a little bit about me, a little bit about Serena, a little bit about us. And now today what we're going to do is we're going to share with you a day in the life of needs. And what we mean by that is we're going to share with you what has happened today. Just today, and it's been quite a day. I'm not going to lie. It's been an interesting one. And we want to share it with you so you can understand how the needs plays into everything that kind of goes on in the day, the things that are happening. So I'm going to start off by sharing a little bit about my day until Serena and I first connected. And then we'll start to, I'll get Serena to share what happened with her day until that point. And then we'll share what happened from there together. So I woke up this morning about 5 to 7. Anyone who knows me well knows I'm a big lover of pink skies, sunrise or sunset. Both of them I enjoy. And I realized at the time I woke up, I had about 20 minutes before sunrise. So I jumped out of bed, hobbled out of bed because I actually have a foot injury at the moment, which means I can't move too quickly. So I jumped out of bed, hobbled out of bed, crawled out of bed, and then headed straight down to the beach. So I sat down at the beach. It was beautiful this morning. The ocean was lovely and calm. It was a gorgeous sunrise. I did my needs practice, which took me probably about 10 minutes. I sat and did some work on my needs menus. And then after that, by this point the sun was up, it was warm, and I went to have a little paddle in the ocean because I always do that before I leave. And the water was so good. And I was like, you know what? I really want to get in the water, but I didn't have a bathing suit with me because I woke up too late and I was just insisting on getting out of the door quickly. And I was like, you know what? Who needs a bathing suit? I'm going to go in just as I am. No, that doesn't mean to say I went skinny dipping on a public beach in Key West, which, let's face it, if you've ever been to Key West, you know no one would bat an eyelid if you did that. But I decided, you know what? I'm just going to go in fully clothed. Like, I can just wash these, I can put these clothes in the laundry as soon as I'm back. So that's what I did. I went in, had a beautiful swim, got nudged by a jellyfish on the top of its head, not the tentacles, so I didn't get stung. And at that point, I was like, you know, I need to head back because I had things I needed to do in order to get ready for Serena coming over for us to podcast today. So I got back home. I went straight out the back and did the chores that I had to do around at the back of the property. I had a bunch of stuff that needed to be done. I got all of that done. I came in, I had a shower. I washed my hair, got myself ready, did all the things I needed to do in order that I would be ready when Serena got here. And then I did just a little bit of prep around the house, like tidying away. This isn't what it normally looks like. It's not normally this beautifully clean and clear. We did move a few things out of the way to make sure that we had a nice clean backdrop. So I just kind of got myself ready at that point. And at this point, there's a bit of a running joke between Serena and I that quite often we say we'll start at 10, and maybe Serena doesn't hear quite on 10. So I looked at my clock, it's just 10-ish. And the thing is that it doesn't bother me. And that was the funny thing, was that because my needs were met, like first thing, if my needs weren't being well met, that's the sort of thing that could easily irritate me. Like someone's late, they're not respecting my time, they're not respecting my boundaries. And I remember I looked at the clock and it was 10:07. And I was like, okay, it's fine. And I also had a couple of messages this morning that kind of irritated me because of situations with different people. But again, I'm like, okay, what do I need to do to take care of my needs? What do I need to do? Like in those moments where I was irritated by what was going on, because I'd done my needs practice, I was present to my needs. I'm like, actually, I'm going to empathize with myself. Actually, that feels better. Now it's okay to feel how I'm feeling about this. Let's just let it be. And I got on with my day. And so about 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes past 10, I get a phone call from Serena. You want to share a little bit about what happened in the lead up to that phone call?
Yeah. My day started actually very similarly. I started out my day with my needs menu and my needs practice, and did my practice and felt really good about it. Like, it felt really good this morning. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get this day. And then as my morning went along, I found, having done my needs practice and having gone through my menu, it was triggering things. I was like, I knew I needed to eat breakfast because we had a big day ahead of us, and I knew I would be getting coffee, and I'm like, well, I can just pick something up there that will be, good, kind of on the junk food spectrum. However, I was like, yeah, that would taste good. And I'm like, no, I need to nourish my body. I'm going to eat something that's nourishing. And then as my morning was progressing at my house, I felt myself doing more things to meet my needs, to just kind of build up and fill up. And then by the time I got to the door, I'm like, it's 9:30. I'm early. I'm going to show up early. Like, this is going to be amazing. So,
and actually, can I just jump in there? It's interesting because I remember when you got here, you told me that, and I was like, oh my goodness, I did the same thing this morning. Like, I did my needs practice, and through looking at my menus, I was like, oh, I need to eat something. I want to nourish my body because I need the fuel today because we've got a lot to do. And I took my supplements for the first time in a few days, and I had drank plenty of water, and it was like, and again, like the whole morning, I was just like filling that tank, even like above and beyond what I would do with my practice, like everything else I was doing, I was making these choices that were really nourishing me and fueling me for the day. So, sorry, I don't mean to jump in, but I was like, I remember us having that conversation, being like, yes, I did that too.
Me too. Right. So I started my day, left the house, and I was good to go. And I get to the coffee shop and see the line of cars hitting the street. So we're talking about 8 cars, and I'm like, all right. Right in there, I'm like, we have to reevaluate, and we have to do it quickly because we're in traffic. I'm like, we both want me to have my coffee. And the relationship that Claire and I have is, we mentioned in the episode about us, the third one in this series, she knows that if I'm taking care of my needs and what I need to do, that's what needs to be done.
I'd rather you be 10 minutes late and have what you need than be on time and depleted.
Absolutely. Why not?
It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. It makes more sense, right? So I get my coffee, and we're at 9:50 or so. I'm like, all right, I need to be safe. That's the first thing. Anybody who knows the traffic in this area, it's something different.
Yeah.
You have to be very aware. You have to be very mindful. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to get there when I get there. And I was talking to another friend on a messaging app and decided a video was not texting and driving or anything. Hands-free.
Yeah.
I was paying attention to the road, just kind of talking, just to clarify. And I told her, I was like, oh, I have about 30 seconds to talk to you, but that's better than not talking to you, so I'm going to call you. And I called her, and I was like, I have about a minute to get home, or to get to Claire's.
That's how much time you spend here. It feels like home.
Yeah, it does feel like home away from home. And 30 seconds into that call, I pulled up to a stop sign, and I see a horrible, horrible scooter accident. And my initial thought, it looked like a scooter of somebody I knew that
we both know.
We both know, yeah. And immediately just got hit with a wave of emotion. And very quickly saw that it was not that person. But I had this intuitive hit where I got off the phone with my friend, and I could have taken a turn and just gotten to where I needed to be. But I was like, no, I need to be here. So I stopped the car, I blocked off the traffic, and I called Claire immediately. I was like, I'm at the end of the street, can you come?
And what she said to me is, there's been an accident at the end of the street, can you come? That's all I got. And then obviously she went to go and help support with what was going on with the accident. Now, in my mind, I don't know what I'm about to walk into. All I know is that there is an accident, and it's serious enough that Serena has asked me to go and help. Now, for context, one of the big differences between the two of us, I am not good with blood. I'm not good with broken bodies in any way, shape, or form. Serena's fine with it. And the amount of times I've injured myself and she's kind of helped strap me back, take me back together again. But I'm not good with that stuff. So immediately I'm thinking, oh God, what am I about to walk into? But I also trust her that if she says, you got to get down here, you got to get down there. So I start walking down the street and I have exactly the same thought that Serena is, because I see the scooter and it looks just like a very good friend of ours' scooter. And I'm like, oh my God, it's this friend of ours. Immediately afterwards, I see the legs of the person who has been injured and I realize it's a man, or it's certainly not the person who I thought it was. So I had that immediate relief and I'm like, okay, what needs to happen here? So we both, and the thing is that when I had that call and I had that surge of, oh my God, what am I going to go into? The good thing was I was already taken care of. My needs were already met. So I was like, deep breath. What do I need right now? I need to breathe. I need to center myself. I need to ground myself. I've got this. I'm okay. I've got what I need so I can go and support what is going on down here. Now, very quickly, luckily, when we got to the scene of the accident, the ambulance got there very quickly, the police got there very quickly. So we were able to support very briefly with what was going on and then get out of the way because, quite frankly, there were more people there than they needed. So we were able to make sure that everything was safe. Serena helped with one of the worst moments of the injuries and then was able to hand over to the medical personnel. And so at that point, Serena drove round, I walked back up, we got here and we came in. And I'm going to be honest, I thought there's no way we're doing podcasting today. And you said that to me actually. And I remember thinking, we've just dealt with this massive trauma, accident. This is not the right energy for us to start podcasting in. Is that
Oh, yeah. Shaking.
Yes.
Just because of, the
shock.
The shock of all of it. But I felt oddly grounded within it. Mm-hmm. Because when I left my house, I was okay. Because Claire and I have the transparency in our relationship. So me being late, there's a time that I would have pulled up to that and I would have stopped at that stop sign and I would have had to choose between, am I going to disappoint Claire, or do I need to be there, or do I do what I feel needs to be done? And there wasn't a question about it. Mm-hmm. There was a knowing and a solidness because my needs were met. It wasn't about...
And because our relationship is solid and because we have that trust in each other. So yes, it was this big hit to both of us, but we were already taken care of in ourselves. So that hit wasn't happening on an empty tank. We were full, and yes, the hit might have taken something from the tank, but there was still a hell of a lot left in the tank because it was already full. And so what ended up happening was we came in, we sat down, we kind of decompressed, we actually went straight up because the friend that we thought it could have been was upstairs. We both went up to see the friend to make sure that she was okay. Of course, she wasn't in the accident, but to give her a hug and just say, I'm so glad that you're okay. So we had this beautiful moment with her, which actually, I don't know about you, but it filled my tank even more.
Oh, that was the best. I've had a lot of really good hugs in my life. And I mean, right here,
right.
You get the best hugs next to me. But there was just something about it really was fulfilling to really express the emotion and the feeling and being in that moment and then bringing the other person into it. Mm-hmm. There was a certain transparency there because we didn't have to go up. So she didn't have to know that. But
And she even said, oh my God, those were the best hugs I've ever had. I really needed that today. And so we got to feel good because not only did we get our needs met more in that moment by connecting with this person who we care about, but actually we gave something to her in that moment that she wouldn't have otherwise had. So again, it was it's meeting my need. Oh, it's supporting somebody else. That's meeting my needs even more. It was this, okay, the tank started to go back up again. So then as I said, we sat. We decompressed a little bit. We talked. We shared something of what's been going on for both of us in the last couple of days because since yesterday.
Well, in our worlds, a couple of hours. We're at 10:15 right now in the morning.
Right.
I woke up at 9.
Yes.
Like
So 2 hours in our world, 2 days in most people's world. So there's a lot to catch up on, even though we saw each other at like whatever it was, 7:30 last night. So we did that kind of decompression, and then I remember you saying at one point, like, shouldn't we be planning podcasts? Like, do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. And you were like,
yeah, okay, let's talk. And but the thing was, it wasn't like we sat down with the laptop and figured out what the podcasts are going to. We just started chatting.
mm-hmm.
And it was this beautifully, like, within 5 minutes, was it? Like,
It
we
was
literally had come up with 5 podcast topics that we wanted to get recorded today. And we were like, okay, we're going to do that. Okay, let's go do it. Let's start. I was like, we've got 5 podcasts to record today. Let's do it. And we were like, and I remember you looking at me and going, okay,
yeah.
off we go then. And because we'd needs are met, took a hit, met the needs again, solidified, got ourselves back into, right, reorientated. Now what are we doing for the day? This is the thing we're doing for the day, but we're not going to do it in a pressured, like, difficult, forceful way. We're just going to start to talk, and it naturally happened. So you want to share, like, obviously then we started to, I mean, obviously we then had to get everything ready for podcasting, right?
Yeah, I mean, we did the things to get to this point. We went through our list. We really kind of started checking the boxes, which in itself felt good, like to be accomplishing what we set out to accomplish. Then had a hit, and we're like, oh, there's no way we're gonna be able to accomplish this. To be back in it and being like, oh, crap, look at what we're accomplishing. Like, I mean, but it was all because we started our day full. Mm-hmm. We felt the depletion, and we're like, you know what? We don't need to do our practice to fill our cup. It started our day full, but we can meet our needs throughout the day as we need to meet our needs. It's something it's something we're constantly doing, right. But to sit and be like, wow, that was really traumatic. Mm-hmm. I am really shaken up by that. Okay, what do we need to do for you, for me? And then because we took care of ourselves individually, we were able to come together in business and create.
And even like how we moved on from there. Like, we knew that we had to figure out the bullet point notes that we wanted to do for the podcast, and we knew we had to get the setup done, and we knew we wanted to get we decided we were going to wear makeup today, so we were going to get our makeup done. And then Serena was like, we need to have a dance to one of our favorite songs, like, to get the energy up. And it was so interesting how, like, from that, oh God, there's been an accident, I don't think we're recording a podcast today, to, it wasn't that we'd forgotten that. And interestingly, like, throughout the day, we were saying, like, I feel like I want to ring the hospital and find out if he's okay. Like, we're still present to that. It's still a factor of our day. We haven't gone, well, let's ignore that and put it to one side, so because it doesn't affect us anymore. It's more, we brought other things into the space that were also going to meet our needs. And I remember as we were kind of getting ready, I'm like, I'm really excited about this. Like, I'm really excited we're doing this today. And like, I'm excited about what we're going to record today. And we were like, yeah, let's. And then we're like, okay, we need to bring the energy up. What are we going to do? We're going to dance to one of our favorite songs. We danced in the living room together, sung and danced to one of our favorite songs. We then listened to the podcast music because it put us in that frame of mind. And then we started to record.
We recorded a badass podcast.
Right.
It was so good. But we forgot to hit record on the audio. So we have amazing video of us sitting here. I mean, hand gestures, facial expressions, all the things. Yeah. Hand puppets. But we had, I mean, it was one of those, we looked at each other, we're like, yeah. And then we looked down and Claire's like, no. I can censor myself. Yeah, by just not like saying it.
Yeah, I liked it.
But that right there, that could have derailed us. That could have stopped what we had. It could have just stopped, and we're like, okay, where are we at? Claire's like, I'm kind of hungry. I'm like, yeah. Looking at the time, we probably do need to eat need to nourish our bodies, because if we're hungry, we're going to be, even if we want to be here, we're going to be here. Mm-hmm. So we took a moment, an unplanned moment in a very busy day to be like, let's go and get lunch. Let's actually leave and get lunch, because that's what's going to meet our needs.
And the interesting thing is, it actually wasn't in the middle of a busy day at that point. Because we had lost that first recording, we were actually at the beginning of our busy day again, because we had to start again. Like, it wasn't just we've missed this, and but we've already got some in the bank. It's like, we actually have to start from scratch again. And this is really frustrating and it's really irritating. But as you say, and it was funny because I was like, when we went to get the food, I was like, the microphone actually picked up my stomach rumbling at one point in that previous take. So I think this was the right thing to do. But you're right. We checked in and we were like, right, what do we need? And there are times, and there would have been times where when that happened, we would have said, you know what? I feel like we're not meant to be recording today. Mm-hmm. Like, this isn't meant to be happening today. We're not meant to do this right now. And we checked in and we're like, is this a sign that we're not meant to be doing this right now? And we were like, no. Deep breath. What do we need? Nourish our bodies, get the food, get some drink, take a break, even though we hadn't started yet, because even though we'd done one, we still had everything to do still. And that's what we did. We came back and ate, right?
We did. And we re-energized. We filled our cups again. Mm-hmm. Like the third, fourth, fifth, sixth time during the day, because we were constantly doing it, which is, I mean, before I learned the concepts and learned about the needs work, the thought of filling my own cup and having it like instant refills, mm-hmm. unlimited refills. Like, I can unlimitedly refill my cup. And
and for a coffee drinker, that's a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, maybe a superpower, like, anyway. But a couple of years ago, that any one of those situations, and we're at like 1:00 in the afternoon now,
right,
would have derailed me 100%. It would have changed my mood. It would have changed my interactions with people, because I would have just been depleting myself over and over again, never refilling. So to actually look at it in retrospect is kind of, I'm going to give myself a little pat and a toot, like toot my own horn.
Right.
Because
and there's another factor to this as well. So the podcast episode that we recorded, that we didn't record, was our podcast episode on boundaries. Now, if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it. I think it's number 7 on the episode list. Go back and have a listen, because we even shared in that episode how yesterday evening we'd had a boundary that Serena had set that actually then became a preference, but there were 2 boundaries that she'd set for tonight. So we knew we were on a time limit today. We didn't have the flexibility that sometimes we're like, you know what, we're in the flow, let's just keep going and we'll get it done. And that's what feels right. We knew we had a time limit today, and we had a lot. We had now we'd lost like an hour of recording time, and now we had to fit 5 episodes into a much, much shorter space than we previously had available. So tell the viewers what happened for the rest of the day.
We have recorded multiple podcasts today.
Right.
Which, from coming from we're not going to do any to having, like, I mean, it's kind of amazing that looking at what we got done today.
Right.
And I had set a time boundary when we came in the morning, because I knew that was one of my things on my needs list this morning that I wanted for myself. I'm like, I'm going to set a boundary. I'm going to, respect that boundary. So throughout the day, it's checking in. Okay, where are we at? Where are we at? And now we're at that point where we have had our cues, and it's like when that time comes, it's like, okay, now that's the boundary, and that's where we are.
And because I knew that, I've checked in. There have been times where there could have been some ambiguity about, like, are we starting a new project now, which we said we weren't going to do after 6:00. But I'm like, no, actually, this is part of the project we've been doing all day. Like, we're in the flow of it. It's not like we're starting something brand new. okay, as long as you're okay with that, are you confident? Like we had a couple of misstarts when we started this podcast that we're recording right now, and I was like, we're pushing up to the time when you said you were gonna. Are you okay with continuing to do this? Serena's like, yes, let's do this. Let's get this done. And that's the thing, is that because Serena's been mindful of her needs, I've been mindful of my needs. I've been mindful of Serena's needs. Serena has been mindful of my needs. Like in between episodes, what do we need to do? Like we've had each other's back. Like how do we need to support ourselves? Oh, we need to have a top up of water. We need to have this right now. We've been mindful of continuing to take care of ourselves and our needs all throughout this afternoon and early evening. And that's how we have got, I mean, this has probably been one of the most productive days we have had in months. Not that we're not normally productive. We normally get a lot done. But this is above and beyond what we would normally have achieved in this space of time, even with all of the intensity and trauma and chaos that there was this morning, because we started with our needs. And as the day has gone through, and I mean, we've just talked about it in a general level. We've just talked about it more kind of, okay, what do we need right now? We'll do that and meet the needs for ourselves. But we've actually gone through like, I need this right, like this is the need, like for ourselves, I'm needing this thing right now, and I'm doing this to meet that one need that's in the trunk, or I'm doing this to meet that one need that's in the roots. We know the needs, and because we're doing that, it means that anytime any need gets impacted, anytime any need has a deficit, even just a little one, we go, okay, we identify, okay, it's that need, let's top that one back up. Because it's not just about our needs, it's about if we have our needs of our trunk met, but the root needs aren't taken care of. So our trunk needs were being met when we were doing the boundaries episode that we didn't record. But the roots weren't being met because we needed to eat at that point. So we then went, okay, break, water, kombucha, sandwiches, all the things that we need. What do we need to do? Re-nourish the newts. Re-nourish the newts. Re-nourish the roots. I don't know where the newts are. Maybe they're hanging out with the lizards, but it might be the iguana that fell in the pool yesterday, which is a story for another podcast. But what we've done is we've been aware of which need. It's not just that we need to be meeting our needs in general. We know that we need to make sure each of our needs are being taken care of. And anytime there's been an impact to any one of them, we've gone, oh, okay, we're going to empathize with ourselves for that, or we're going to eat this, or we're going to do this, or we're going to connect to this, or we're going to breathe, or whatever it is, to stay across the needs tree. So the needs tree has sustained and been nourished consistently throughout the day. And that's why we are here right now. That's why we are still recording in this moment, and why we've been able to achieve all the stuff that we have today. Anything you want to add before we finish up?
It's just amazing when you look at, for people, I haven't had a public journey or anything like that, how I would have reacted, how I would have felt, all the things thinking prior to knowing, being able to identify what need it is. Like, right. I was able to immediately, after witnessing and being part of that traumatic episode, to be like, I know this need just got impacted. Let me focus there for a minute and see what I need. Where before I would have just started spinning and spinning and spinning out, and then I would have created so much of this when all I had to do was identify this, nourish it.
Yeah.
And then the tree started to grow again. Like, it was like, stop. And then it's like, oh no, okay. I got the things.
Absolutely. And now we're at that point where Serena's at our boundary for the day. So she's going to go home and take care of herself. I'm going out dancing. Now, admittedly, I'm going to be careful with dancing because, as said, I've got an injury right now, so I'm going to be mindful of that. But I still have the energy, even though we've done so much today and we've been through so much today. I'm like, actually, that's what meets my needs right now. I've not been able to dance for a week or so because of my because of the injury I have, and I'm now at that point where I could do a little bit. So actually, it's going to meet my needs more to go out and do that right now than it would be just to stay home and chill for the evening. And I will then make sure it's not going to be a late night. We're going to come back. We're going to relax. I'm going to chill. We're going to replenish. again, and then we'll do this all over again tomorrow because we've got another day booked of business work to do tomorrow. And we will do exactly the same thing. And how it happens, the needs that show up, the things that we have to navigate in the day, they're always different. It's not the same day twice. We don't deal with a traumatic accident twice. We don't deal with not recording an episode on multiple occasions. Well, at least we hope we don't. Because that wasn't fun, let's be honest. But
such a good episode.
It was such a good episode, right? Such a good episode. And that's the thing, is that the things that are different, but the needs are the same. And so how we navigate meeting those needs and supporting those things is the thing that we need to take care of. It's like, it doesn't matter what's going on. It's still the same 12 needs we're looking at. And it's still, there might be different things that we do to meet them depending on the circumstance and situation. But we always come back to that. And that's what allows us to do what we do. So I hope this has given you a little bit of insight. I hope this has helped you to get a little bit more of an understanding on this needs thing isn't something you do, like self-care. I've had a bubble bath at like 8 o'clock at night. That's my needs met for the day. This is something that as the day unfolds, as the issues happen, if there'd been an argument with somebody we knew, or if there'd been a different challenge or a different problem, or if there'd been an issue with, I don't know, flooding in the house, like there would be different needs that would have been needed to be met. And there would have been different needs that have been impacted and different ways we would have needed to meet those needs. But the thing is, by staying present to what our needs are, by recognizing when the tree gets impacted, when the tank drops a little bit, what do we need to do to fill it back up again? And that's what the day in the life of needs really is about. It's a moment by moment thing. It's not a thing you do once a day or once a week or once a month. It's not something you do and then you forget about it. When you really embody this work, when you really understand what your needs are, you're checking in moment by moment, and it's constantly changing. And once you start to kind of dance with that and you understand, okay, it's this one now, it's this one. I'm getting into the dancing already. That's when you really get the power and the liberation of this, because that's when you really make sure that in every moment by moment, you're actually connecting to and supporting what you need in that moment. And the next moment when it changes, you're in that moment. And the next moment when it changes, you're in that moment. And that's how you get to feel this kind of consistent fulfillment, even when shit's going down, even when traumatic things happen. Did that mean that it didn't affect us? No, of course it did. We just knew how to navigate that because we knew what needs needed to be taken care of in order to navigate that, not to ignore it, not to avoid it, in order to process it.
And something that I think I hadn't mentioned is, in the meeting of my needs in the morning and going through my needs menu, when I got to the scene of that accident, I was able to immediately identify what need I could help this person meet for themselves. And at that point, it was breathing. And to be able to connect and be like, nope, and you focus on nothing but breathing right now. And being able to identify that for others is amazing. And then empowering them to do it for, like,
even in the instance of having a traumatic accident, there could have been an instance where you would have had to do that for somebody. Like that is a thing. Like if that person isn't able to do it for themselves, that's a different thing. Like when we talk about interconnectedness and equity in episode 5, when you, like, if you go back to that, there are going to be moments where people can't meet the needs for themselves. And that's where, as a community responsibility we have, you may have had to give it mouth to mouth if they hadn't been able to do that for themselves. But the thing was, even in the midst of that really awful accident, that's the one thing that person could do, and you were able to help them focus and remind them of that and support them with that, which is just beautiful.
It really, it's been an intense day. It has gone sideways a couple of times, but an amazing journey in needs, in friendship, in partnership, and checking in with ourselves, checking in with each other. Like, hey, that was really intense.
Right.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Do you need anything? Let's check in to see what we need, knowing both of us need something. We might not know what it is, but like, where are we at? Where are you at? And just that beauty of really embodying and fulfilling every aspect of our day today with needs has just...
It's been a beautiful day, even with all of the stuff that's happened. And it's like, we might not meet the need. We might not meet the need in the same way. Like Serena and I might have the same need that's up. And what Serena needs, the way that she's going to work for her in that moment is this. And the way that it's going to work for me in that moment is that. And we know that. So we can go, okay, you do this, I'll do this. And we'll come back together again once. Oh, okay, we're good. Right, now what? And that's how that's how the day has unfolded the way that it has. So anything else you want to share before we finish?
I don't know, just welcome to a day in the life.
Right. So thank you so much for being with us today, for listening, for watching, for supporting us in the way you do. We're so grateful. And this is, I'm sure there will be more of these kind of getting to know you episodes coming forward. So watch out for those. All I'll say is that thank you. I wish you lots and lots of love. I hope that you stay safe, and please continue to keep meeting your own needs. Lots of love. Bye. That's it for today.
If you like what you heard
and would like to see some of Serena's awesome facial expressions,
check out the video podcast on YouTube.
And remember, meeting your needs is not a one and done thing. By staying present and checking in with your needs moment by moment and continuing to meet them, that's how you stay consistently fulfilled.
Well, shit. It really is that simple.